Well, excuse me, babe. Hey, babe, what's up? You care to explain to me what I just found on your phone? There's nothing on my phone that I would be worried about. Do not be smart with me. I'm not being smart. I don't know what you're talking about. I just want to make it clear I'm a strong, independent woman and I do not need you, okay? I do not. I was walking down the street the other day, I passed an Amazon driver, he said, you smell interesting, and I said, get the fuck away from me, but deep down I was like, you know what, that's someone that actually appreciates me, unlike my man who lies to me every chance he gets. Okay, I haven't bought a watch in like a year, alright? I'm gonna describe to you in detail what I found. A charge for $1,000, a charge for $700, $1,000 here, a few hundred there. What do you think this family's made of money? Because we're not. I might just start an OnlyFans. It's besides the point. You said you were going to stop buying watches. Okay. Those are the car parts I was telling you about, so. Car parts? I was mistaken. Hey, why don't you have this coffee I made you? Drink. Make sure to drink all of it. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's a little bit different. It's do you use like almond milk? It's like almondy. It's good. Thank you. Wow, that was a really funny bit. Thanks for sharing that with all of us. Hey, if you want to see more funny bits like that, all you gotta do is click the link in the description below and subscribe to T3 Time to Drive. Is that happy enough, Gato? What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, broadcasting from my house. That's right. So we are not in the office right now, and actually was here filming the episode talking about my fish tank and the Orient diver that I've had in my fish tank for like a year now. And I figured, you know what? I'm here and it'll be fun to kind of film here. So let's bring a watch and do another episode. And so I brought a watch that I can almost guarantee you've never even heard of. Okay. It's from Seiko. So it is a watchmaker that you've definitely heard of, but this specific watch, I can almost guarantee you've never seen or heard of. Let's just get into it. It is 3:07 p.m. Let's get down to business. Wow, I almost messed up telling the time, but I never mess up telling the time. I stuttered a little bit. Okie dokie, guys, so we've taken a look at watches that have dedicated career paths, if you will. What do I mean by that? Well, we've seen watches that are catered to, dive watches, that's easy. We've seen watches that are catered to pilots, right? Pilots watches. We've seen watches that are catered to military personnel. We've seen watches that are made for doctors. We've seen watches that are catered to athletes. So it's pretty interesting that there are watches that have designs, they're dedicated tools. So I guess, regardless of what the watch looks like, anything could be a tool watch if you use it as a tool, right? Like a dressy doctor's watch, I guess, could technically be a tool watch for that doctor. Whatever, I digress. Today we have a watch that has its own career. And it's very specific, and it's like bizarre because I've never even seen or heard of it, and I'm eager to share it with you. You're gonna be seeing close-ups of it right now, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of a teaser just with the mic. That's right, it's a metronome. This is the first ever musician's watch that I've ever shared with you on this channel. I didn't even know this existed, but I guess it makes sense. Metronomes are like not the craziest bit of technology, and I guess it's something totally that could be wrist worn. I've just never even thought of this existing, and it's crazy that I was able to have one here today thanks to a viewer who sent this one to the office. This is the Seiko SMW001A. Calf leather strap, stainless steel case, black dial, analog display, quartz movement, average plus minus 15 seconds a day accuracy. It is, I think I just said it's quartz. This has, let's see, hours, minutes,
metronome with a tempo range of 40 to 304 BPM, thickness of 10 millimeters, so quite thin, width of 36.5 millimeters, and a lug-to-lug of 39.6 millimeters. And yeah, again, this is like the first ever full-fledged musician's watch that I've taken a look at. We've taken a look at physicians' watches, pilots' watches, dive watches, watches for runners, military watches, but this is a musician's watch. Now, when we look at the watch, you can see metronome in big letters at the 12 o'clock, or right above the 12 o'clock, I should say. And then, yeah, I mean, the Seiko signage, pretty simple center dial, but as we can see along the chapter ring, instead of having minute markers or any sort of timing function, you can consider it some form of timing function, but it's musical time. You can see all the various BPMs with the corresponding tempo names there. Very, very interesting. And, you know, my mom watches all of my content, from my live streams to the stuff I upload on T3 Time to Drive. Go subscribe over there. The podcast to, yes, all my Time Teller episodes. She's probably yelling at the camera right now, being like, tell them, Jory. And so I'm going to tell you something I've never told you before, I don't think. So before I was a powerlifting coach, before I was a business consultant, before I was the Time Teller, I was a musician. Okay, and I actually took it pretty far. I went to college for it, for performing and business, music business, and that's actually what brought me here to LA. Now, what's interesting is if you are to take music to a high enough level and you want to be a session musician or a studio musician, one of the main skills you need to have is playing with a metronome. And I will tell you right now, not every musician wants to play with a metronome because it's boring and it's confined and it's strict. You have to be beep, 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 beep. You can't deviate at all from that. And most people don't like it, but it's a skill you have to practice if you want to be a session musician. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, by the way, playing with a metronome. But yeah, I personally played drums for like over 20 years. And it's crazy revisiting that part of my life that I haven't had to revisit in a very long time, ever since I finished school. But yeah, I'm not sure if any of my viewers would have a use for this musician's watch, but I'd be remiss if I didn't share it with you because it is a really unique Seiko with a very specific function. So I'm not sure if this watch is loud enough to play in a studio to use with your full kit and everything. Perhaps if you're practicing like either acoustically or doing rudiments on a practice pad, if you're a percussionist, it might work. We're gonna test that. Okay, I'm gonna hold the watch. I'm wearing the watch. I'm gonna hold it up to the mic. This really is not quite loud enough, but we're gonna see if I can do some rudiments. This is 120 BPM. All right, let's speed it up a little bit. This is 160 BPM. And I'm not totally sure that I could really do a pros and cons with this watch because this isn't... I guess it's technically a review. If I had to give it pros, really good sizing. It's not cumbersome when you have it on the wrist. You can play drums with it. Drilled lugs, which are really cool. Fairly affordable, $275. But again, if you're looking for a wrist-worn metronome that looks nice and is made by Seiko, it's not going to break the bank. And then the one main con I can see is that it's just not quite loud enough. I wish it was a bit louder. But yeah, guys, that's kind of it. Let me know what you think of this watch. Would you have any use for it? Do you play an instrument? And what's your favorite kind of music? Leave that in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you and we can talk about that. And yeah, let me know if you've ever heard of this watch because again, this is the first time I've ever heard of it. Special thanks to the viewer that sent it into the office. And yeah, very, very fun. Revisiting my past a little bit. Hey, maybe we can start a band. Whoever in the comment section wants to start a band with me. T3 and the Time Travelers. Leave a band name that we could do. All right, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I will catch you on the next one. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.